Ain't no food stamps. Y'all motherfuckers gonna have to hunt raccoons and for Thanksgiving and eat beans and.
I'm here trying to find something to eat because I'm homeless. I have a little one to take care of, and I have to make sure she eats every day. So, unfortunately, it sucks to come from shit like this, but what else can I do?
Good evening, everyone. About 9% of Louisiana veterans rely on assistance to feed themselves and their families.
They get that food assistance through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. But as our Josh Minnie reports, that assistance could soon be no more.
The importance of SNAP for veterans is it's an additional source of food beyond the food that they do and can get from Second Harvest Food Bank at any one of our food pantries.
Y'all, so buckle up because we're diving into a storm brewing around one of the most provocative voices in music. Cardi B, a woman who rose from the Bronx, shook up charts, brought unapologetic realness to the spotlight, now finds herself at the center of a controversy that cuts much deeper than rap beef. It's about hunger, it's about veterans, it's about a system folding under pressure. It's about what happens when the bubble of celebrity meets the raw reality of survival. Last week, Cardi made a comment that lit a fuse, something along the lines of no turkey for some of y'all, referencing the looming collapse of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, before Thanksgiving. Soap Central +1 in that moment. A light-hearted remark turned into a riptide of accusations from veterans groups, from single parents, from people who felt seen and then suddenly mocked. And instead of stepping back, Cardi doubled down. Instead of quieting the storm, she stirred. She rode it full throttle. So let's walk through this together, from her roots, her rise, the build-up to the blow-up, and how it all erupted. By the end, you'll see why this isn't just about—
I was worried about me saying Donald Trump and me and my teleprompter not working, that child missed the message. And this is what I was trying to say. Now look, right? Donald Trump was never for y'all poor. Donald Trump was never for the poor people, for the white poors, for the black poors, for the Spanish poor, for the Asians, for the Indians. He don't give a about none.
One celebrity tweets a mirror for so many who feel abandoned. She didn't grow up in mansions or on Easy Street. Cardi's story begins in the Bronx, where the hustle was real and the dream was loud. She talked about being raised by immigrant parents who worked their asses off, someone who knew what it was to struggle daily. People saw the glitz and the glam, the platinum records, the neon lights, but underneath was a young woman determined to turn her pain into power, her background into a badge. Like many, she juggled jobs, tiptoed around budgets, and never forgot where she came from. The fact that she could become a global star is part triumph, part testament to grit, to identity, to reclaiming voice. But somewhere along the way, the world changed around her. The music business changed. The expectations changed. The people she once spoke for began to feel left behind. She became part of a system rather than just commentary on it. And maybe, in the glow of fame, what was once raw and chasing become maybe insulated. During those early years, the scene was rough. The industry demanded boldness.
All these people that we are talking about who have an audacity to cut how we live and how we eat. Who are these people? Are they real people? Say, we're going to cut this, we're going to take this. Do they eat? Are they well off? They cannot be older adults and expect for us to exist and do this and do that. I would like to know who they are.
Demanded you be seen, demanded that you survive. Cardi responded. She shouted her truth, raw and unfiltered. She spoke about the welfare system she came through. "I'm a product of welfare," she once said. That statement carried weight because it came from someone who had lived it. But as she rose, the environment she spoke to was shifting. Costs were rising. Food banks were getting leaner. The safety nets once thought solid began showing cracks. The same kind of people she referenced back then, the working poor. Single mothers, veterans, were now having to reach deeper just to get by. And sometime in that shift, the lens turned. The voices she once gave power to were now questioning what voice she still represented. We witnessed her touring the world, owning stages, dropping hits, but also studying how the powerless still lived in the shadows. In early 2023, after court-mandated community service at a veterans facility,
9% of Louisiana veterans rely on assistance to feed themselves and their families.
They get that food assistance through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. But as our Josh Minnie reports, that assistance could soon be no more.
The importance of SNAP for veterans is it's an additional source of food beyond the food that they do and can get from Second Harvest Food Bank at any one of our food pantries.
According to Feeding America, a nonprofit organization of food banks, 20% of those who rely on food banks are veterans.
She got emotional. She said, "I don't know anybody that went to Afghanistan. I've seen how they come back and they don't even know how to adjust to society." Volt, that moment cracked open a window. She admitted she was learning. She admitted she was witnessing. But the problem is, learning doesn't always stop the critiques when you're in the spotlight. So fast forward, the economy is tight. People are scraping. We have reports that millions rely on SNAP to keep children fed, to keep hope alive. Then changes come. Eligibility tightens. Budgets shrink. Political fights intensify. And into that boil steps Cardi, a celebrity with a voice that still resonates. But in this moment, she becomes a lightning rod. Here's where the twist comes. What nobody expected was how sharp and immediate the backlash became.
He's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this.
Cardi posted remarks in X on social media warning people that their safety nets were collapsing. She said something like, "People are complaining that they have taken away food stamps." Mind you, Thanksgiving is next month, no turkey for some of y'all. Music times +1, that line lit a fire. Because yes, it's true. Policy shifts were threatening millions. Yes, SNAP cuts were real. But the tone, the delivery, that's where everything changed. Veterans and service members got involved. The same people who signed up, who served, who sacrificed, they watched closely. They heard a star they once respected make a comment that felt more like a joke than a warning. The thing is, when you've walked through war, through trauma, when you've returned home and your country says thank you, but then quietly leaves you in the back, porch.
The thing that always gets me in my head is this one time, my mom, she was working very hard, but we still needed help. So she went to welfare to get a benefit card and stuff like that. And the lady, my mom, she's the type of person, if you're rude to her, she gonna be like, "Oh, I don't gotta take this." And she would just storm out. I don't gotta take, nobody gonna talk to me like that. She got a very strong character. And this lady was talking so rude and so nasty to my mom, and she was taking it because we needed the help. I don't want nobody to feel like they have to talk to me a certain type of way because I need the help. And it's this could never, ever.
Mocking the meal you'll miss doesn't land as comedy. It lands as cold. And that's where the betrayal sets in. On forums across social media, the sentiment grew. She had privileges we don't. She jokes while we're scrambling. She's rich. We're broke. And unlike casual snark, this was deeper. It cut at identity, pride, service. The message became, our struggle is not your punchline. And instead of diffusing, the ripple widened. More posts, more calls for accountability, more discussions about the disconnect between celebrity and the wounded. What made it worse? Instead of offering apology, clarification, or empathy, Cardi held her ground. She insisted she meant what she said. She made it a platform to critique policy, yes, but the crowd heard tone. The crowd saw a performer remote from their scars. Conversations shifted from, let's talk about policy, into why did she make fun of us? The system, the veterans, the single moms, the kids missing meals, they were now asking, why are you laughing when we're crying? And look, let's not ignore the backdrop. Economic distress not just hitting low income, but creeping up through the middle class. Food insecurity rising. Veterans returning to box jobs, shelters, activism. The context, a social fabric being tested. The celebrity, someone who once spoke for those scrambling, but now dared to mock the scramble. People don't forget. They don't forgive easily when survival becomes spectacle. That escalation, it hit headlines, it hit discussions. It forced the question, what responsibility does a public figure have when they speak about hunger, hardship, or crisis? If you knew hunger yourself, does platform improve your empathy or amplify your distance? The narrative spun. The girl from welfare is now wealthy but still mocking welfare recipients. Critics didn't soften it, they sharpened it. They took aim at authenticity. They challenged brands behind the lyrics. And they took this beyond entertainment. Let's pause, breathe. The stakes, families with kids, veterans battling PTSD, single mothers juggling to jobs many depending on the very program Cardi referenced. They heard, "No turkey for y'all." And that phrase became emblematic. It exposed a gap between lived reality and celebrity commentary, a gap between serving and being served, between fighting and being